The oath of the defeated. The sky was dark with smoke. Fires burned in the distance. The battlefield was silent now. Only the wind moved, carrying the smell of metal, blood, and dust. Ships hovered above, watching. The war was over. Zerelai stood on her knees, head bowed, armor cracked and torn. Her spear lay broken beside her. She was a commander once, fierce, proud, feared. But now she was a prisoner. Around her, other warriors from her clan had already taken the oath of surrender. She was the last one left. A group of human soldiers walked toward her. Their faces were hidden behind helmets, but their movements were careful. They did not speak. They formed a line, leaving one space in the center. Zerelli raised her head slowly. A human stepped forward. He was not wearing a helmet. His face was clean, young, and calm. His eyes were strange, filled with something she had never seen in a conqueror. Not hate, not pride. Something else. He looked at her, then spoke. "I am Captain Elian. I accept your surrender." Zerelli stared at him. This was the conqueror. She expected a giant, a beast, a monster in metal. Not this, calm man with soft eyes and quiet words. She remembered the ancient vow of her people. If defeated in battle, swear loyalty to the victor, no matter who they are. Her voice trembled. "I am Zerelli, commander of the 3rd Flameborn Legion. I give my oath of loyalty. I will serve you." The words tasted bitter in her mouth. Captain Elian nodded. But then, something unexpected happened. He reached down, not to chain her, but to help her stand. Zerelli flinched. "You are not my slave," he said. "You are a warrior who kept her honor. I will not treat you like a prisoner." She did not take his hand, but stood on her own. "Then why make me swear?" she asked, confused. "Because oaths have meaning," Elian said softly. "But how we treat each other, that's what decides the future." She didn't understand. This was not how victors acted. This was not how war ended. Human soldiers came forward with supplies, water, medical kits, even food. Zerelli looked at them with suspicion. "You give me food and healing?" she asked. Elian nodded. "You are wounded. The war is over. You conquered us. We ended a battle. I do not want to rule your people. I want peace." Peace. It was a word Zerelli barely believed in. Her people had fought for centuries. War was in their blood. Surrender was shame. Yet here she was, alive, unchained, and being treated like a guest by the enemy. That night, she sat in a small tent provided by the humans, a warm drink in her hand. Outside, the soldiers guarded the camp. Not her, just the borders. She watched them laugh, cook, talk like ordinary people. Not killers, not beasts. And then her eyes moved to Captain Elian. He stood near the fire, talking with his officers. He was not celebrating. He looked tired, almost sad. Zerelli did not sleep. Her thoughts were loud. This was not the ending she expected, not the life she imagined. Her whole life she was taught to hate humans, to fight them, to destroy them. But this human showed mercy and respect. Was it a trick, or was he truly different? In the morning, Elian came to her again. "You have the right to leave," he said. "You swore loyalty, but I won't force you to stay." Zerelli was shocked. "You don't want a slave." "I want allies," he said. "The galaxy is changing. I believe peace is possible, but only if warriors like you help shape it." Zerelli looked into his eyes. She had once killed for her people. Now she didn't know who she was anymore. But one thing was clear. This man, this human, had shaken her world without a single blade. And that terrified her more than war ever did. The warriors' confusion. The sun rose over the broken land. Zerelli stood near the edge of the human camp, staring at the horizon. Her world, once bright with honor and strength, now felt like a fading memory. Behind her, human soldiers walked with weapons, laughed in quiet groups, and repaired machines. None of them looked at her with hate. None of them feared her. She should have felt peace. Instead, she felt lost. A week had passed since her surrender. Every day, Captain Elian visited her, not with orders, but with questions. Strange questions. How did your people learn to fly plasma cruisers through asteroid belts? What did your mother teach you about war? Do you think your people would want peace if they were given a real chance? Sorelli did not know how to answer. Back on her planet, humans were taught as destroyers, cruel invaders who burned cities and stole planets. But this human captain listened. He asked about culture, about history, about her, and he never interrupted. He treated her like someone who mattered. This confused her more than anything. On the 8th night, something changed. Sorelli heard whispers, low voices in the dark, not human voices. She left her tent and moved like a shadow, quiet and fast. Her ears caught words spoken in her native tongue. Tomorrow night, at shift change, the human captain dies. Sorelli froze behind a supply crate. 2 alien figures stood in the shadows. One wore her people's cloak. The other had the markings of the old resistance, the ones who never accepted defeat. The humans made her weak. One of them said, "She thinks talking will save us. She forgets who we are." "Doesn't matter," the other replied. "Once Elian is dead, they'll blame her. We win either way." They vanished into the dark. Sorelli stood still for a long time. Her blood was cold. Her hands shook. They were planning to kill Elian. And worse, they were using her to do it. The next morning, Elian noticed her silence. "Something's wrong," he said. "I can feel it." Sorelli didn't answer. She stared at the ground, torn inside. This was the moment. If she stayed quiet, the captain would die, and her people might rise again. The war could return. The code of vengeance would be complete. If she warned him, she would betray her people forever. They would call her a traitor, a coward, maybe even hunt her down. But then she looked at Elian. He was speaking to a group of human engineers, helping one fix a damaged energy tower. His hands were covered in grease. He was laughing. This was not a monster. This was not a tyrant. This was a leader who cared. She made her choice. That night, she went to his tent. 2 guards tried to stop her, but Elian waved them off. "It's all right," he said. "Let her in." Sorelli stepped inside, her armor shining dimly under the soft lights. "They plan to kill you," she said. "Tomorrow night, during shift change." Elian's face changed, not with fear, but with quiet understanding. "Who?" Sorelli looked away. "2 of my kind. Rebels. They believe your death will bring power back to us. They want the humans to think I did it." Elian nodded slowly. "And why are you telling me this?" Sorelli looked at him. Her voice was sharp, yet calm. "Because I gave my oath, and because I have seen your heart. It is not made of iron. It is not made of blood. It is made of something my people never taught me." He smiled. "Trust." Sorelli didn't answer, but her silence said enough. The next day, Elian made no changes, no special guards, no panic. Sorelli waited. Every hour felt like a blade against her mind. Would he be killed? Would they strike in the open? Would she be blamed? Then the hour came. Shift change. The camp lights dimmed as soldiers moved. Sorelli stayed close to the command tower, watching. 2 figures slipped in from the shadows. They moved fast, quiet, skilled. But Elian was ready. Before the assassins reached the center, energy nets dropped from above. Hidden human snipers fired stun rounds. The rebels fell, screaming, caught in an invisible trap. The camp lit up. Soldiers rushed in. The attackers were taken, bound, and silenced. Elian walked through the crowd calmly. Sorelli followed him. One rebel looked at her with hate. "You swore loyalty to your blood. You betrayed your soul." Sireli stepped forward. "No," she said, her voice full of strength. "I chose to see with open eyes, and I chose to protect someone who showed me respect." The rebel spit at her feet. Elian placed a hand on her shoulder. "They will never forgive you." "I don't want their forgiveness," Sireli replied. "I want peace." And in that moment, she knew. Her war had just begun. Not against humans, not for her people, but against the darkness that lived in all sides, the oath torn in shadows. The next morning was not calm. There was no celebration, no words of thanks, no medals, only silence. The two alien rebels were locked in an isolated chamber at the edge of the base. Their weapons were removed, their names erased from military records. Sireli's name, however, was not erased, but it was whispered like a curse. Some humans now looked at her with suspicion. Some aliens now looked at her with hate. She had no home on either side. Captain Elian noticed this change. He stood at his usual post near the control tent, arms folded, eyes watching everything. He called Sireli that evening. She entered without a word. Her face was hard, but her eyes held weight. "They hate me," she said finally. Elian nodded. "Yes, some do, because they don't understand you. Yet, even your soldiers, some of them too." Sireli stood still. "You trust me, but what if they don't? What if next time they aimed their guns at me?" Elian walked closer. "Then you face that moment with the same courage you used to save my life." She looked away. "I broke my people's code. I betrayed my blood." "No," he said gently. "You broke their chains, not your honor." 2 days passed. Sireli trained with human soldiers now, by Elian's orders. They didn't like it. During practice drills, her blade movements were fast and deadly, making others look weak. She could knock a man down in seconds. Some respected her skill, but others feared it. "She's dangerous," one soldier whispered. "She's a traitor," another said. Sireli heard it all. That night, she stood alone by the landing zone, watching the stars blink above. Her planet's moon was faint in the distance, like a ghost she once knew. "You shouldn't be alone," the voice said. She turned. It was Sergeant Trent, a human soldier who had never liked her. He didn't smile. "You're lucky the captain trusts you," he said. "Do you?" she asked. Trent stepped closer. "I trust what I see, and what I see is a fighter who chose the right side. Maybe for now." Sireli's hand touched the hilt of her blade. Trent saw it. "Don't worry. I'm not here to fight you," he said. "But I need to know something." "Ask." "Why did you really warn the captain? Was it loyalty or something else?" Sireli took a long breath. "I saw truth in him," she said. "Something I was never taught to see. He gave me freedom without asking for chains. That changed me." Trent nodded slowly. Then he handed her a device. "This was found on one of your rebels." Sireli looked at it. It was a data stone, one used only by high command scouts, forbidden to carry outside war zones. She activated it. A hologram flickered to life. A female alien leader appeared, old and fierce. Sireli's former superior. To all remaining units, the message began: "The humans have grown weak. Captain Elian must die before the Alliance gains strength. Our spy in the base will finish the job if others fail. Loyalty means nothing if we let our kind kneel." The message ended. Sireli's eyes widened. "Spy," she whispered. Trent looked at her. "They didn't just send assassins. They planted someone inside. One of us." Sireli's voice turned to steel. "We have to find them." The next day, Captain Elian gathered his top officers, including Sireli. Inside the command tent, screens showed troop movements, communication logs, and internal power signals. "One of the officers is a spy," Elian said calmly. "We don't know who." Sorelli's eyes moved across the room. 6 humans. 1 alien. Herself. Silence fell. "You think it's me," she said sharply. "No," alien replied. "I trust you. But this traitor wants us to turn on each other." Lieutenant Marcos, the youngest officer, stood up. "What if the spy has access to command codes?" Alien nodded. "They could sabotage our alliance meetings, launch fake strikes, or worse, expose secret missions." Sorelli stepped forward. "We must act fast. I want access to every file, every private message, every hidden frequency. I'll track their signals." Some officers looked uncomfortable. "You're not even human," one muttered. "Then be glad I don't think like one," Sorelli replied coldly. Over the next 48 hours, she worked without sleep. She followed heat signatures, traced code, filtered noise through alien encryption patterns. And then, she found it. A signal, pulsing from inside the medical unit. Disguised, quiet, but not silent enough. Sorelli ran to the medbay. There she found Nurse Rilla, quiet, kind, always helpful. But in her private corner, a transmission pad blinked. Sorelli drew her blade. "Step away." Rilla looked up, smiling. "You found me." Sorelli didn't blink. "You were going to kill Elian." Rilla's smile faded. "He ruined the old world. He made you believe in peace. That's the true crime." "You'll face trial," Sorelli said. "No," Rilla whispered. Then she pressed a button. Alarms blared. A timed explosion had been activated inside the base core. Sorelli ran. Her boots hit the ground like thunder. Every second was fire in her veins. She reached the core unit. Countdown. 45 seconds. With no time to think, she threw her blade into the main conduit. Sparks flew. The explosion stopped. Silence. She collapsed, breathless. Captain Elian arrived moments later. "You saved us again." Sorelli looked up, weak but alive. "No, I saved myself. From the warrior I used to be. The fire that never died. The night after the explosion was too quiet. Every soldier in the base was on high alert. Guards stood at every corner, scanning shadows with their rifles ready. The medbay was locked down. The spy, Nurse Rilla, was now in a deep sleep pod under guard, unconscious after her failed attempt to destroy the command core. But even with the danger past, a thick fog of doubt still hung in the air. Inside her tent, Sorelli sat by the dim light of a floating orb. Her blade, once sharp, now damaged from disabling the bomb, rested beside her. She hadn't spoken much since saving the base. She couldn't stop thinking. Not about the explosion, not even about the spy, but about why her people were willing to die just to kill Captain Elian. And why, after everything, she still cared. Captain Elian entered without knocking. Sorelli didn't look up. "Do you believe in destiny?" she asked softly. Elian sat on a nearby crate. "I believe in choices." She turned her face toward him. "My people were raised to fight. We were told war was our honor. Peace was weakness. Mercy was death. But now, I feel shame when I remember those words." Elian leaned forward. "It takes strength to question what we were taught, even more to change it." Sorelli stared at him for a long moment. "They won't stop. There will be more spies, more attacks. You could be dead tomorrow. And yet here we are, still breathing." She laughed slightly, the sound strange in the dark. "Maybe you are a fool. Maybe. But I'd rather be a fool for peace than a king of ashes." Sorelli's smile faded. "I want to believe you. Truly. But there's something you don't know. Something I've never told anyone." Elian stayed silent, listening. Sorelli stood, lifting a small silver shard from her belt. It was curved like a fang, glowing faint blue. "This was my sister's," she said. "She died in the first wave of battle, killed by human marines in orbit." She looked at him now with pain in her voice. I was not just a commander in that war, alien. I was a blood burner. A chosen leader trained to wipe out entire human colonies. I ordered the firebombing of 4 outposts. Women, children, families. The room went silent. Alien didn't speak. Sorelli's voice dropped lower. So why did you save me? Why did you trust me? Because, Alien said, his voice steady, you're not that person anymore. The one who stood in front of me on the battlefield. She had already changed. She just didn't realize it yet. Sorelli's fingers tightened around the fang. I want to believe there's a path forward. But if your leaders find out who I really was, they'll want me dead. Alien stood. Then we keep moving forward, one day at a time. If peace is to live, someone must be brave enough to walk through fire. But fire was coming faster than either of them expected. That same night, a secret signal was picked up by the long-range tower. Hidden inside the code was a message from an incoming alien fleet. Sorelli's people. They weren't coming to talk. They were coming for her. The base entered lockdown mode. Every unit prepared for combat. Lieutenant Marcos burst into Alien's command room. They've sent a warship. Class Dreadnought. It'll be here within 48 hours. Sorelli stood beside the table. They're not coming for a battle. They're coming for a retrieval. Me. To execute you? Marcos asked. No, Sorelli said. To parade me. To show the galaxy they punish traitors. They'll take me, put chains around my neck, and make an example. They want me alive, just long enough to die publicly. Alien looked at her. You could run. And bring danger to anyone who helps me. No, I stay. But I won't die quietly. The base prepared for defense. Sorelli trained with the human elite unit. She moved like wind and fire, teaching them alien techniques, predicting enemy strikes. The soldiers who once doubted her now followed her lead. They called her Ghost Fire. But deep inside, Sorelli knew this would not be a normal fight. Her people would not stop with weapons. They would use something far more dangerous. Memories. On the eve of the Dreadnought's arrival, Alien found Sorelli alone on the observation deck. They'll be here soon, he said. Sorelli nodded. I'm ready. You don't have to face this alone. But I am alone. I belong nowhere now. Not to them. Not to you. I am. Something broken. Alien stepped closer. Then let us build something new. Not warrior or enemy. Just you, Sorelli. For a moment, her eyes shimmered, not from tears, but from something rare. Hope. The next morning, the sky split open. The Dreadnought appeared. Huge, black, surrounded by 6 fighter wings. A voice echoed from the ship across all frequencies. Release the traitor, or be destroyed. Captain Alien looked at Sorelli. She stepped forward, her voice steady. No, she said into the mic. I will not return. And if you want me, come take me. And with that, humanity and their once enemy prepared to fight side by side. The war was not over. But the truth had changed everything. The storm between stars. The Dreadnought hovered like a dark moon over the base, its shadow falling across the valley like a warning from the gods. It didn't fire. Not yet. It simply watched, silent, waiting. Inside the base, alarms pulsed low and steady. Every soldier was in armor. Turrets were online. Drones hovered overhead, scanning the skies. But inside command, there was no shouting, no panic, just preparation. Captain Alien stood in front of the central screen, hands behind his back, calm as ever. Sorelli stood beside him, her eyes locked on the enemy ship that once would have obeyed her every command. They're testing us, she said. They want us to surrender without a single shot. They think fear will break us. Alien didn't blink. Then we show them we are not afraid. A transmission came through, encoded in the old alien war dialect. Only Sorelli could read it. She took the message and read aloud. Traitor of flame, ghost of shame. Surrender and be judged before the eyes of the stars. Your death will be remembered. Your silence will not. Elian stepped forward. We respond with unity. Sorelli nodded. Then it's time. She walked out to the front line. Every soldier in the base, human and alien allies, stood in silence as she passed. Sorelli wore her broken armor, repaired only at the edges. Her scar across her cheek was visible now, no longer hidden beneath war paint. She activated the amplifier beacon and spoke aloud across all channels. I am Sorelli, former commander of the Flameborn Legion. I was forged in war, trained to kill humans. And yes, I did. I followed orders. I believed my leaders. Until I met one human who didn't raise his gun. He offered his hand. She looked up at the dreadnought. You call me traitor. I say I have awakened. I will not return to lies. I will not die for pride. I will fight. For peace. There was silence. Then the dreadnought replied. Then you shall fall with your new masters. The attack began. The sky cracked open. The dreadnought launched its fighter wings, 6 black ships, each armed with plasma cannons and energy spears. They came down fast, fire trailing behind them. Turrets fired. Missiles screamed through the air. The first fighter exploded mid-sky. The second dodged and crashed into a ridge. But the others kept coming. Sorelli ran to the upper defense platform. Elian was already there, commanding units with sharp precision. We need to take down their communication relay, Sorelli shouted. Without it, the dreadnought loses control of the drones. Where is it? Elian asked. Sorelli pointed to the top wing of the dreadnought. There, but we can't hit it from the ground. Elian turned to his tech officer. Get us a shuttle. Silent run. We go up. Within minutes, a stealth shuttle was prepared. Sorelli and Elian climbed aboard with a small strike team. Only 5 soldiers, all volunteers. As they took off, the base below erupted in chaos. Smoke curled through the air. The sound of plasma bolts hitting steel echoed like thunder. In the sky, the dreadnought loomed larger and larger. Approaching blind spot, the pilot whispered. Sorelli checked her blade. Elian loaded his sidearm. If we fail, Sorelli said, they'll flatten the base. Elian looked at her. Then we don't fail. They landed in silence on the outer hull. The wind of space was silent, cold. Every movement had to be careful. One mistake, and they'd float into the void. The team moved fast, magnetic boots holding them close to the hull. Sorelli led them to a hatch hidden beneath the dreadnought's wing. Here, she said, I used to design these myself. They broke through. Inside, the dreadnought was quiet, but not empty. Guards appeared, alien elite soldiers in full crimson armor. They fought like machines. Sorelli met them head-on, blade against blade, metal singing. Elian fired behind her, covering the team. One soldier was hit. Another fell. Only 4 remained. They reached the control room, but the relay was shielded. We need to break the code, the engineer shouted. Sorelli stepped forward. I know the sequence. How? Because I wrote it. She pressed her hand on the panel. The system blinked. Access granted. Relay down, she said. Below in the human base, the enemy fighters went dark and spiraled from the sky. But something else happened. The dreadnought spoke again. You have dishonored the stars, Sorelli. The voice was different now. Familiar. Sorelli stepped back. That voice, she whispered. It's your sister, Elian said slowly. Sorelli froze. No, she's dead. The screen changed. A face appeared. Same eyes, same features, but colder. I survived, her sister said. I rose through the ranks. I became the Flamekeeper. And now, I finish what you failed to do. Sorelli's breath caught. You betrayed everything, her sister said. No, Sorelli whispered. I saved everything. Her sister's eyes narrowed. Then you leave me no choice. The self-destruct began. They had 4 minutes to escape. They ran. The dreadnought trembled. The strike team dashed through fire, through smoke, back to the shuttle. One soldier was hit, left behind. The ship launched. The dreadnought exploded behind them like a second sun. They didn't cheer. They didn't speak. They had survived. But Shirali had lost something she didn't know still existed. Back at the base, everyone watched the fire in the sky. Shirali stood at the edge of the landing pad, her eyes red, not from smoke, but from tears. She was alive, she said. My sister, she chose war. I chose peace. And now, she's gone. Elian stood beside her. You honored her, even if she couldn't see it. Shirali nodded slowly, then whispered to herself, May the stars forgive her fire, and remember my light. Whispers behind the throne. The dreadnought was gone. But peace did not follow. For 3 days, the skies were quiet. No ships appeared. No new threats came. The human base stood in silence, covered in black smoke and the scent of melted steel. Wounded soldiers were treated. Wreckage was cleared. The dead were buried with honors, both human and alien. Shirali sat by the ruins of the outer wall, her damaged armor at her feet. Her sister's voice still echoed in her mind. You betrayed everything. The flames had faded from the sky, but not from her heart. Captain Elian stood beside her, holding 2 steaming metal cups. He handed one to Shirali. She didn't take it. You were right, she said quietly. We were never fighting a war. We were fighting stories. Lies told for so long, they became truth. Elian sipped from his cup. Stories shape people more than weapons do. Shirali finally took the drink and held it in her hands, feeling its warmth. But whose story is the truth now? She asked. Before Elian could answer, the base alarm rang again. But this time, no ships entered orbit. Instead, a deep pulse came from underground. A hidden transmission, not human, and not from Shirali's people. In the command room, the tech officers looked confused. Sir, it's a signal. Ancient, older than both of our species. Shirali leaned in. The symbol on the screen was not one she recognized, but something about it made her skin crawl. Elian frowned. Is it a distress call? The officer shook his head. No, it's a command code, an override request, directed at Shirali. Everyone turned toward her. Shirali's mouth opened slowly. It's the vault signal, she whispered. Elian stepped closer. What's the vault? Shirali didn't answer right away. Her face had turned pale, eyes wide. A secret my people buried long ago. A hidden chamber under our oldest temple. No one was allowed to speak of it, not even commanders. And why is it calling you now? Shirali's voice dropped to a whisper, because someone activated it. And it's using my bloodline code. A meeting was called with the Human High Council via hologram. Admirals, intelligence leaders, and planetary governors joined from across the stars. They listened to Shirali's words in silence. When she finished, one admiral spoke. You expect us to believe your people were hiding ancient tech that predates both our species. Shirali nodded. Not tech, a message, a warning. Another council member leaned in. And what does this warning say? Shirali looked at Elian, then back at the council. That we were never enemies by nature. We were made to be enemies by someone else. The vault's location was tracked to a deserted planet once thought lifeless. Drenhull 4. A scout ship was launched with Shirali, Elian, and a small science team aboard. The journey took 14 hours through hyperspace. When they arrived, the planet looked like a grave. Gray skies, black sands, lightning that never touched the ground. They landed near the ruins of an old flame-born temple, half buried under time. Shirali led them through cracked stone doors, following markings only she could read. This place, It was never used for worship, she said. It was for hiding something. They reached a chamber at the lowest level. A smooth circular door stood before them, sealed by symbols glowing faint red. Zarelli touched the center. Her hand burned. The door opened. Inside was not a vault of weapons, but a room filled with light. And in the center, a suspended memory core. Glowing, humming, alive. The moment the core activated, a holographic figure appeared. Not human, not flameborn. Something older. Its voice was layered, male and female, soft and cold. If you are seeing this, it said, then the war has gone on too long. Zarelli stepped forward. Who are you? We are the architects, the figure said. We built your rage. We shaped your fears. We needed chaos to feed our order. Elian's eyes narrowed. You created our war. Yes, your species, both of them, were uplifted from the soil, guided, shaped, given tools to destroy each other, for balance, for study. Zarelli's fists clenched. You made us hate each other, for balance. The figure did not blink. Peace is a variable that weakens control. We ensured war to delay your union. It was never personal. It was strategic. How many died? Elian asked, voice shaking. Enough to maintain equilibrium. The figure began to fade. Your bond has broken the system. Now the galaxy must decide, rise as one or fall alone. The room went dark. Zarelli fell to her knees. It was all a lie. Everything. Her battles. Her hatred. Even her sister's death. Not destiny. Just manipulation. Elian knelt beside her. Now we know. Now we fight the real enemy. Zarelli looked at him. How? They could be anywhere. Controlling everything. Even your own leaders. Elian stood. Then we find them. Expose them. And we change the galaxy one truth at a time. Zarelli rose, wiping her face. Not as commander, not as traitor, but as witness. No, Elian said, with a small smile. As hope. But above Drenhall 4, far in orbit, another ship watched. Its hull was invisible. Its crew, not human, not flameborn. The architects were not gone. They were listening. And they were not pleased. The light that defied the dark. The truth had been revealed. But the galaxy was still silent. After Zarelli and Captain Elian returned from the vault, they sent the memory core's recordings to every human colony and to every known flameborn city across the stars. They exposed the architects, the hidden ancient manipulators who had guided both species toward endless war for centuries. Some believed it. Some did not. Others feared what it meant. On both sides, whispers of doubt spread like smoke in dry wind. Governments questioned old truths. Soldiers laid down weapons. Leaders called emergency meetings. But in the shadows, far from planets and light, the architects moved. And they were ready to strike. It began without warning. A fleet of unknown ships appeared in orbit around Drenhall 4, where the vault had been found. They didn't fly like flameborn cruisers. They didn't look like human vessels. They floated silently, shifting shapes, adapting forms. No symbols, no names, only silence. Zarelli stood on the edge of the mountain range, watching them arrive through her visor. They came faster than we thought, she said. Captain Elian joined her, his face set like stone. We gave the galaxy the truth. Now the architects want to erase it. Can we stop them? She asked. Elian didn't answer. Instead, he activated his comms. Send the signal. The call for help was simple. This is Captain Elian and Commander Zarelli. We have revealed the truth of the architects. We are under threat. If you believe in freedom, if you believe in peace, then stand with us. Now. Then they waited. For 1 minute. 2. 3. No one came. The architects moved closer. On the 4th minute, a new signal broke through. "This is Governor Juno of the Arcadia colonies. We heard you. We're on our way." Another voice followed. "This is High Guard Zarl of the Flameborn Northern Belt. We were blind before. Now we see. We stand with Shirali." More voices came. Dozens. Then hundreds. Ships jumped in from hyperspace. Flameborn warships flying next to human dreadnoughts. Independent freighters. Rebel scouts. Forgotten mercenaries. Exiled warriors. For the first time in history, both species stood as one. And the architects, silent gods of war, prepared to meet resistance. The battle began without a single word. The architects struck first. Their weapons bent light, twisted gravity, made entire squadrons vanish in flashes of blue flame. But the united fleet didn't run. Cirelli flew at the front in a stolen Flameborn interceptor. Her damaged blade now reforged, its metal humming with memory. Captain Elian led the command ship, the Nova Shield, firing coordinated barrages. The architects fought like shadows, but the Alliance fought like stars. And stars burn bright before they die. Cirelli's ship was hit. She spiraled down into the lower atmosphere, flames trailing from her wings. Alarms screamed. Panels sparked. But she didn't eject. Instead, she pointed her ship toward the lead architect vessel, twice the size of any other. "And Dove. They fed on fear," she said through comms. "Then let them see what courage looks like." She crashed through the outer hull, flames swallowing the walls. She leaped from the cockpit and landed inside the ship's inner chamber. And there, it waited. The true architect. Not machine, not flesh, but something in between. Tall, glowing, no face, no voice, but presence. It looked at her like one might look at a storm. And Cirelli, standing in the middle of the burning room, whispered, "I was born in war, but I choose peace." The architect raised a hand. Her chest burned. Her memories flooded her mind. Her sister, the fire, the betrayal, the pain. But she stepped forward anyway. The blade in her hand pulsed. And then she drove it into the heart of the chamber. The architect screamed without sound. The room exploded with light. In orbit, the lead ship lost power. One by one, the others followed, falling from the sky like broken myths. On the ground, Captain Elian watched the sky change color. Then silence. 2 days later, Cirelli awoke in a recovery pod. Burned, broken, alive. Elian stood beside her, smiling. "You did it," he said. "You gave us something no war ever could." Cirelli looked up, her voice soft. "What's that?" "A future." Months passed. The galaxy changed. Peace talks replaced war councils. Schools were built where weapons once stood. Monuments rose, not for soldiers, but for truth. And in the center of the Flameborn capital stood a statue, not of a queen, not of a general, but of Cirelli, blade in one hand, a human hand in the other. Beneath her feet, a plaque read, "She promised loyalty to her conqueror, but gave loyalty to hope instead." The war was over, and the story had just begun. The end.